Welcome to Kidswear Therapy podcast, brought to you by Pirouette Media. If you enjoy listening, please remember to follow, like, or even review us wherever it is you listen. Kidswear Therapy is a safe space to discuss the ups and the downs, the positives and the irritations of the kidswear industry. So join Linda and myself and our wonderful guests on Kidswear Therapy.
Hi, Katie.
Hi, Linda.
Here we are again.
Yep, and we have a guest this week, which is exciting.
Very.
We have Majbrit. We've just been trying to pronounce it properly, so hopefully we've hit it correctly. But Majbrit is the Managing Director of Bundgaard Shoes. And funnily enough, you and Linda know each other very well, don't you?
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Hi.
Hi. We go a long way back.
We go a long way back. Yeah. I don't even, maybe 2009 or something.
2009, 2010. I mean, when did you,
Since
at
young.
that time, you began a brand called New
Yeah.
Generals.
Yeah, I did.
And when do you think you actually began? Because I think I saw your first show.
Yeah, I think maybe it was 09 or 08, 08 or 09. Yeah.
Yeah.
Around that. So it's a long time ago. Yeah.
I feel like we're going to have lots of things that come out during this podcast because we want to know about the crazy times back. That was in the good old times, wasn't it?
Yeah, good
times.
memories.
Yeah,
very good memories. I think.
Yeah,
we had fun back then. We still have fun, but
yeah. And it was a very innovative brand because it was quite ethical. I think you started with T-shirts and it just grew and grew and grew. And you ended up having catwalk shows.
Yeah, we did.
In Copenhagen.
Yeah. There was I remember that when we were exhibiting at trade fairs around, people said that it will never happen that anyone would want to pay anything extra for something that was organic.
Yeah.
I think we were probably the second brand in Denmark or third or something. There was someone before us that got certified, and people were laughing at us like, "Why do you want to spend your time on this? That's time consuming. It's expensive, and nobody cares."
It's very expensive.
Yeah, and they didn't care back then. So
so they were right.
Well, they were right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you know what? They care now, though. They care now.
Yeah,
so it's always good to be a leader, not a follower, eh? Always.
Sure. Yeah.
And interestingly, Denmark has become one of the most sustainable fashion cities in the world.
Yes. It went fast from there.
Yes.
It really did. There was some front runners here who really took it to their hearts to make a difference, especially in the kidswear industry. And of course, it's an area where it's probably more accepted that we tend to want to spend more on the welfare of our kids than we do on ourselves. So yeah.
So obviously you and Linda know each other from 2009 and we met a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
You've had your own brand, and so obviously the management of it all. You've been through the ups and downs of everything. And I've met you through obviously now being the managing director of Bundgaard, and you started that about 2 years ago, didn't you, the position? So do you want to just tell us a little bit about coming into the company and your appointment basically?
Well, yeah, actually 2 years ago I started as the CMO. I was responsible for the marketing and the brand and the branding. And when I accepted the position, I did it because I saw a potential in this brand that it felt like nobody had seen it, and I didn't understand why didn't they see what is there. It's like opening a chest of gold. Like you just find a gold mine here. So I started as CMO, and my journey was to sort of course it was a rebranding, but it had many stages, but it was all about finding out what's the DNA, and how can we transfer the DNA of the brand into something contemporary. So that was the task at hand. And the interesting part was that being a heritage brand of 120 years, it's the brand was founded in 1904. You have obligations. You can't just do whatever you want with that. So the first year was about learning what was it about, what was the history, what was there every time you opened a box or a drawer or a file, see what's in it, and it was huge. There was so many things. So it was also about sorting out, like filing what's interesting, what's not, where in the DNA lies the real value, and then figure out how to transfer it into something modern. And it took
Gosh,
a long time.
it feels like going into like what your grandmother's house or something like that, and having to actually go through everything and every last thing to decide what you're going to do with it all.
It really was. Since they were the team before me, they were already celebrating the 120 years birthday when I started. It has already been set in motion, so they had already been looking into all the archives, so that it has begun already. I just felt that it was interpreted wrong. It shouldn't be something to celebrate on a birthday. It should be something that were implemented in everything that we do. So it was more like a philosophy, a promise to what we have in our hands, that someone has. It's a legacy that we are given to take care of, and that has to be done with caution. And it was something that I really needed to think about for a long time, how to approach it.
I think it was really interesting what you said about the fact that obviously, you've got a brand there that's like 120 years old, but actually you're coming in there and realizing that really not many people know about that brand, in the wider scheme of things,
Yes,
and
that's true.
and this is something that we're always saying with brands is it's interesting that you've gone in and you've kind of done a massive deep dive into the designs, into everything to see what's relevant today and how you can kind of communicate that. Brands now think that you've got to just keep designing, keep doing lots and lots of new things, but actually there's a very small percentage of parents that have actually been introduced to your brand.
Yeah, and that's a crazy part, because it could by now be a huge international brand. But I think that somehow over the past few generations, decades, it was more seen like a national brand, something that every growth strategy was put into just growing in Denmark. And obviously it's a huge brand in Denmark. Everybody knows it here. If you ask in the group of potential buyers, it's a 10 out of 10 awareness. They all know the brand.
Right, okay.
They all say that my mom wore the brand when she was a kid, my grandmom had the shoes on when she was a kid, and so forth. So there's the legacy of it here. It's so profound. But it was never looked upon as a brand that should go very international. I don't think that it wasn't that they didn't want to. I just think that they didn't know how. So it was sort of just going, following its path the way it was. And sometimes that's also the most convenient thing, to just do whatever you usually do. So, but the interesting part for me was, because that's what I did with New Generals. Quickly, we took it internationally, and it became so much bigger international than it was in Denmark. And that
So in
was
reverse, completely in reverse then.
yeah. So that was sort of what I saw here, that there was a huge potential of something, but we needed to work it to work on the collections, the creatives, the whole DNA, the strategic part, how we approach the collections, everything, before we sort of are ready to take it there. Because looking back, it has been it was very clear that in the collections, they had tried to satisfy a lot of opinions in one. So it was sort of a mixed collection of some DNA, some very beautiful styles, and then some styles that when we looked at it, we thought that what are they doing in this collection? They have nothing to do with how we see the heritage of the brand and the original purpose. So and especially the design DNA was sort of gone. So maybe that's also the reason why it wasn't breaking through internationally because it wasn't strong enough in the whole design DNA.
Also, the name is quite Danish. It's a hard name
Bundgaard.
for
Yeah, it is.
international. You know,
Yeah.
people would look at it and perhaps just dismiss it because of that. So there's that you have to alter as well, the perception of that.
Yeah.
I saw
But
you
there
a
are
year
many
ago, I
brands.
think. Yeah, yeah. I
There are many
saw
brands with
you.
very difficult names.
Yes.
Yeah, you saw me.
This is
Sorry.
Denmark.
Yeah.
No, we met a year ago as well at Sif
Mm.
Kids, and it was already very evident that you were changing the design,
Yeah.
very subtle things like the design on the Wellington boot, for example, but a little slicker, a more modern approach. But
Yeah, that's what we don't want to copy the DNA or the old style. We want to refine them to be more contemporary and fit the modern family. So it's more like taking the DNA and then adding contemporary design, adding them, making them more flexible and more living up to the standards of what we have today. Because looking back, the shoes from our original catalogs were stiff, like we are wondering how could kids even walk in those shoes. We have some very old shoes here in the office. They are probably 60 or 70 years old, and it's just weird to understand how they could walk in it, but the design in it is so beautiful. And it's so we're taking all this retrospectiveness into it, and but it takes time. It will take, now we're 2 years in, and we've come a long way, but it will take a couple of years more, because producing shoes, developing shoes is not the same as a t-shirt like it was in New Generals. I could change everything over a season. Yeah. This will take many seasons because it takes a long time to develop.
That's what I was going to say. Obviously, like with price point then, and where, like where are you wanting to go with, Bundgaard in the future?
Well, we wanna be positioned as a premium kidswear brand, kids shoe brand, obviously. The price point is not cheap. It's not very, very expensive, so we don't position it very high end, but it's a premium brand. So we want to go where we have a coherent collection that talks to the brand, that is in line with the strategic approach and the whole DNA. And we want to position it as a premium brand with very high quality, so that you can trust the product. It's an investment. We talked about that earlier. Also, I think like it's kids use an investment. You can go and buy them at very cheap prices also, but this is not aligned with our DNA at all. If we are to be true to the purpose of the brand, of how it was born, and this is what we want to do, we need to position it in the premium segment, meaning very high quality and very sharp focus on functionality, and of course add the design, which is one of the drivers of why we buy things. Of course, we need it to look nice, so it needs to be contemporary as well. So that's a balance between modern and heritage in one. So that means finding our own design DNA within all of this.
I think what's in your favor though, in your kind of product category, is that parents do invest in their children's shoes,
Yes.
especially in the age group that you have the shoes, isn't it? It's like, from little, from 2 or, just starting to walk up to that 8 years old. You really do
Yes.
invest in your, I mean, I remember we always did. And weirdly, I can't
Yeah.
remember the name of the brand, but actually they were from Denmark as well. And we always like invested in like a really good kind of winter boot, slash trainer, that they can run around in and things. So that's good, isn't it? That I think that it's definitely, that market is still there. It's
It's
very,
still there,
yeah,
definitely. And
yeah,
it's also it's in that age group that it's important.
yeah.
It's here that they develop how they walk. And it has a lot of things to do with their health, to give them proper shoes on. We know that as parents, that when they are small, it's easier for us to make that investment, because we know that they have a need for it. So when they grow a little older, it's not that important anymore. They have grown, they can walk, they are flexible with everything in their movement, and they can run and do stuff. So it changes a little bit, and they also start to have their own opinions of what brands they want to wear. So here functionality comes last and design and branding comes first.
Yeah.
And of course we are working to be both, but we will always just focus on what we are very good at, and that is up to 8 years.
So to put you a bit on the spot, could you like take, I mean, between like 1 to 3 kind of products or designs that you really feel are, you know, are something that you've come in and that has been like a product that you feel is like a leader for yourselves now?
Well, we are leaders in the beginner category already. We are very strong in that. What is funny now is that when I can't show you this, of course, now it's a podcast, but when we go to the next show with our autumn winter 26 collection, there will be some very specific DNA going through the whole collection that hasn't been there before. So the most important that, of course, in our beginner category, we have actually added some very strong. There's a copy actually of a heritage style that is exactly the same way it was made 50 years ago. And then there are a few classic shoes that are something that we want to highlight, because in the past, Bundgaard was very known for the classic shoes. This was sort of the basis, the foundation of all the collections. But those styles have been out of the collection for many years, and those are coming back. So that's a very important thing, that in this collection you're going to see a lot of classic shoes. So that's one of the highlights.
So it's like an archive collection, but tailored for the modern
Yes,
living.
it is. Yes, it is. And of course we have all our bestsellers in there also, but all of them are not new products. They are all products that has been there before, or altered for now, based on something in the past, or something that we have had at least for generations in the collection. So it's a mix of all that.
And did you wear Bundgaard shoes when you were little?
Yes, I did. I did. Yes. And my mom did too. And my mom did too. That's we're actually working on a campaign with talking about Bundgaard for generations, and that's gonna come out next year. So that's very, very interesting.
Nice. Yeah.
Finding like 3 generations of Bundgaard customers.
Yeah.
4 generations might be a little difficult, but 3 generations we can find.
I find it really difficult to get rid of the girls' little shoes. I've got I've got boxes, like I've got a box, like a memory box, and in there, you know, I've got these little red
like
shoes,
little,
and yeah, I can't.
and your favorite onesie or
Yeah. Do
little
you know what? I
hat
I
and
can really get rid of their shoes now though, but I like when they were little.
yeah.
And actually now it's probably all trainers, isn't it?
Yeah, now it's stinky trainers.
Trainers aren't the same. No.
Well, trainers you like, they literally like wear in till they're like, you know, till they're sandals. You know, they're just like
just the holes in them.
just yeah. I really want to kind of take you back a bit, like, so like when you and Linda, you know, back in the day. So I kind of want to go back to kind of what you feel. Obviously, you've had a huge experience, you know, in running brands, you know, running a brand by obviously your own brand, and then running a brand, you know, managing for another company. But I'd love to kind of know like what you feel like some things that you've learned along the way, whether your expectations have changed, you know, just kind of what you feel like you've kind of learned along your journey. Oh God, here. Sorry about that, guys.
Well, it's a journey. Well, it's my experience from kidswear industry is, of course, from back then when we had New Generals. That was about a period of 5 years, I guess.
Yeah.
But before that and after, I have been working mainly in the adult industry, the fashion industry for adults. And that has been this is where my base is. This is where I have the most experience. But it's also the experience from that I take in and use in my work in the kidswear industry. And that was something that I really benefited from back then when we did New Generals, is that I just took in everything, all the drivers, all the best practices that we did when we were producing and marketing everything within the adult fashion. But what I learned is that that's not going to work for kids. it was like we made a lot of mini-me's, which is like
I
mom
loved
and
it.
yeah, and it
I
was
loved it
beautiful.
because I always love the kids wear that is related to adult fashion, you know. I mean, if you're a trendy mum, surely you want your kid to look trendy too. But as far as mass goes, then mass seems to revert to tradition and nice little dresses and, you know,
That's right.
which is where we are kind of now, really, again. The experimentation has gone.
Yeah, I was actually the other day, I was like, I had to I was deep diving into like years and years ago looking for a video, and I was like, I got a bit of a shock actually. You know, I was actually in that realm, you know, like right down. Well, actually, no, I wasn't. I was probably about 2016, and I was like looking for a video actually of me and Linda when I was chatting to Linda, and I got a bit of a shock actually, like looking at the different designs and like weirdly how forward thinking everything was, and I wonder whether because of a little bit of social media and trends and algorithms and things, we're all kind of being fed what they think we're wanting to see, so we're not being challenged by seeing things that, you know, that might inspire us sometimes. And I was a you know, some of the stands, some of the collections, I
Yeah.
mean, they were out of this world. And then,
Yeah. I think it's a lot to do with the buyers
Yeah, I think
and
so
the
too.
customer. Yeah. Yeah, I do. I think if the hunger was there, the product would be there. But I think at the moment, you know, you've got a customer that is very price conscious and
yeah.
wants things to last. And you've got a buyer that won't take experiments in their store anymore. You know, brands are given maybe one season. If it doesn't sell, it goes. And it's a combination of that, I think, that
I think
it's
that's it's also it's also the brands, Linda. I think it's a
okay.
combination of both, because I agree with everything you say, but I also think that it's also about not being driven by fear, which is also
Mm,
something I've learned over the years, that
yeah.
when a brand is driven by fear of missing out, fear of not being in the right stores, or if you believe in a product and it doesn't sell well in the first season, you take it out. And or if there's a war in Europe or anywhere else in the world like we're facing now, or crazy presidents or stuff like that, then we get scared of how will we make it financially. Will How will the world go? Will we sell? Will we have a good sell through? What will happen if we don't? And everybody gets a little bit frustrated and scared. And this is where brands tend to act of fear. So they change and try to adapt, and that's always become like just mediocre. It doesn't, then you don't stand out anymore. So it's also the brands that are holding back on being true to who they are, and being brave enough to stick to what they believe. But if of course it also depends on your business strategy. If you're based on volume, you need to go for the mass, then you need to lower your prices and do very, very secure and boring products, because of course this is the easy part. But so it depends on who you are, and if you are a small independent brand, it's easier to be more creative and innovative because you probably don't have much expenses to run the business. But at Bundgaard, we are somehow in between, and we are focused on quality and design. We are a design driven brand. We are not driven by the top funnel. We are driven by the bottom line. So we want to be profitable, not huge. And that means we can try and focus more on our DNA and our vision for how we should be, and try not to be controlled by that fear, because we have many of our retailers who are selling our shoes right now going out of business. It's hard out there.
This is what I heard when I was at
Yeah.
SIF earlier, you know, in the summer. Some of the stands were telling me, some of the brands, and they were saying, I've lost 10 customers this year. Another one said, oh, I've lost more than that because the stores were going out of business.
Yeah, and the bigger a brand you are, a bigger business you are more affected by it, because the percentage of your loss is just so much bigger. And
Yeah, there was lots of reports of people canceling orders when people had gone into production. So like, I mean, that's always just. I mean, you think you're left with the stock to sell yourselves, and that is, I mean, and suddenly, we just recently, the other like the podcast before this was about the de minimis exemption going, and it was about Trump's tariffs as well, and it's like being hit from both sides. It's like wholesale and be direct to consumer as well. So I think that, yeah, I mean, these are really tricky times. But then in the same respect, like you were saying as well, it's like where you're like, Bundgaard, where do you want to be? And you're like, well, we want to be positioned, you know, in this amount of sales. We're not going to kind of, expand too quickly. It sounds like you've got your plan and your trajectory of, oh, I can't say that word, trajectory.
You did
Trajectory.
well. I can't say it. I won't even try.
But I mean, I think the thing is just there was so many changes after COVID, wasn't there? And also there just constantly seems to be something that's going on geopolitically that just
But it's
throws
also
everything
that
up in the air.
everything is so easy to access, and that means that it's easy to be out there. You can publish a brand tomorrow, starting it today, and just put it out there. And that's a big difference from back then when Linda and I met. Things were very different. And that means that it's a red ocean of products. It's everywhere. So if you want to have a good sell-through, you need to be very focused on the product. Make really good products, good design, beautiful design, high quality, and just stick to it. And then you will stand out, because everything else is just a big mass of something that you can't differentiate it. What is what? So this is what I mean by driven by fear. You can tend to do what everyone else does, and or go the secure way of what is going to sell, like quickly lowering your prices and stuff like that. And then you just go on a path where you ruin your own business.
Yeah.
Do you think that with new generals you expanded too quickly,
Oh
perhaps?
yes, definitely.
Even though that
We
was a much better
Just love it.
time.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a much better time, which also meant that in those 5 years we expanded so quickly. It was out, I think, in 30 countries or something. It became big really fast. The problem was we didn't have a concern in the world about finance. So we thought that would sort itself out. But expanding like that is something that really requires resources in the business and a lot of cash flow. So that just burned me out eventually. It grew too fast. Yeah, definitely did.
It's
So
fascinating, isn't it? It's like, because everybody's looking for that success, aren't they? But actually, if you don't have the infrastructure,
yeah,
if you don't have
yeah,
everything
good
there,
word. We
then
didn't.
yeah, then actually success like that can be like a huge problem, can't it? Because being
Yeah.
able to then deliver and being able to do that is really hard. So
I guess
yeah.
also back then I was a bit arrogant about it. I was like, I would not change a thing. I will do exactly what I want. It's gonna be my way all the way. And the problem with that was that I should have listened maybe more. That I was on a path of something could be a little bit destructive of the brand. Um, so I've definitely learned a lot from that. Yeah.
I think that was a Kidswear Therapy moment for sure.
I think so. I think so. I think so. I saw the light right there. Yeah.
It's amazing
Yeah.
though, isn't it? It's like it is genuinely with experience and with mistakes and with all these things, and unfortunately, like costly mistakes. They hit you so hard, but then later on, then you learn so much, don't you, from it? And like if you can actually look
Definitely.
at it in those ways, I mean, it's just horrible to learn on your own money.
Yeah,
That's the worst thing in the world.
yeah.
But I think
Yeah.
that, you know,
And New Generals was financed by my money and my husband's, and I guess the finance wasn't big enough for that growth. and we didn't expect it to go like that. And I think we didn't care. We were like, okay, this is about getting it out there. We don't really care what happens after that. It wasn't. It
Oh,
was
so you're
probably
saying that you didn't have like a plan. You were just like it was a
A business
rolling.
plan.
Yeah,
no, definitely not.
it was just like a rolling, you were getting successful, so you were dealing with everything as it
Yeah,
comes.
for a couple of years, it was just a hobby for me until I
Uh
just woke up one day and found out I had 200 retailers and I needed to find out how to approach this. What do you do then? And it was very difficult because we didn't anticipate it to go that fast.
yeah.
And in like one season, we had like, I think maybe 20 or 30 huge key accounts on in one season, which meant that they all sent like 50 pages thick manuals of how to approach it and how to distribute products to
Oh,
them.
yeah.
And I really didn't care. I just wrote them back, I don't want to read that. If you want my progress, just take it on. Then if you don't, then just don't. And it was just I thought of yeah.
This
I've
is
learned
something I didn't realise, that when you
no.
send a
I,
product to a retailer,
uh,
that there are specific requirements and different
Yeah, it can be
retailers
like
have different
tagging.
requirements.
Yeah,
The
it can be
tagging
like
thing,
yeah,
yeah,
tagging
yeah.
and everything like that. And like they want the
yeah,
delivery in this way. And maybe it can be like they want certain packaging and things like that as well,
yeah.
can't it, nowadays? Like different, the way it's delivered, or yeah, it's an
There is, of
absolute
course, it has to be a
headache.
balance. Yeah, it's a headache, but it's I understand why it's like that because they have their businesses to run and their success is our success. So it's very important for
Yeah.
us that they have success with our brand, and that's why we also try to tell all our area sales managers, don't sell products to retailers that they can't sell, because if it's not a success for them, it's not a success for us. Then I would rather go smaller. I don't need the huge orders if they can't sell it.
Yeah, and the feedback, right? The feedback is that actually some of the big guys, like the really big guys that you really, really want, are absolutely like the most nightmarish to actually deliver to, with all the conditions and everything that they put in. And actually,
Yeah,
the
but they're also
reality.
the most professional, I
Oh, do you
think.
think? Do you think?
Yeah, in
Yeah,
some ways
probably.
it's more professional. There are more people to take care of things and it's more smooth and they have requirements, but if we are professional and they are, then I think it all works out to the best for both parts. So
Yeah,
yeah,
big up
so that's also okay.
professionalism. That's what we want.
Yeah, yeah, that's what we want. And if you ask it, then you have to deliver it as well.
Can I just ask, like, I mean, we're probably going to be like tying up really quick soon, but I wanted to ask because everybody, it's like a big topic at the moment, and obviously you're, a heritage brand of 120 years, but are you using AI at all within your
Yes,
business?
yes, we
Yeah.
are. We
Okay.
are.
And in what form are you using that? Is it product descriptions, or is it content, or or is it
It's
design suggestions?
It's we in design, we are using it
Yeah.
to alter products if we think that we wanna look at a shoe in a different way, like changing the color of the outsole or something
Uh-huh.
else, then we can do a quick mock-up as
Yeah.
using AI, which takes like 5 minutes compared to drawing it would take like maybe an hour. So it's a tool of where we can make quick mood boards on how to see things, how they would be, because we're visual people in the design
Mm.
department. We need to
Yeah.
see how it looks.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we use that to make like prototypes, mock-ups, things like that for mood boards and stuff in design. And of course, we draw everything ourselves when we go to production phases. But even in this area, we are working in using AR more. We use it a lot for everything in communication. It's we're working on building our own writers, I could say, our own little journalists in AR, so that they know more than we know ourselves about how to talk about our brand. Of course, we have manuals of how to talk. We have tone of voices that
Mm.
gives directions of everything to say and not to say, both in our B2C and B2B communication. And when you are very clear on that, very specific, you can use AI to write stuff for you. If
Yeah.
you're not specific, then you will get something out that just looks like everyone else's, which
Yeah.
is which is
Yeah,
because it just steals from everyone else.
Yeah, it's a
but
process.
we're
It's
doing
a
that.
process, isn't it? It's a
It is.
process of
So
developing the prompts and developing the tone of voice, and
yes,
yeah,
yes.
it is fascinating. It's
It is fascinating what you can get out of it and how
yeah.
quick it develops.
It's a absolute huge time saver. I mean, it's
It
like, and
is.
also I feel like it's about you managing it and using it, and for various things. But I'm finding it absolutely fantastic at the moment. You know, to
I don't think a design company has a future if they don't use
yeah,
AI. It's just the way it is, and we just need to find our way to use it, how it suits our business best. Right now, we're working on teaching it how to write our product descriptions. We're not there yet because they keep putting in words that we don't like. But then you can tell it like this and this. You can never use these words. You can never do it like this, and it gets better and better. And I think maybe from next year we'll be there. So this is something
And
that we're
then
working on.
you're an editor then, you're not a journalist anymore. So
Exactly.
what you're doing is you could be, if you were training a young journalist
yeah,
up, you probably
it's
have the
Yes.
same
exactly that.
problem.
Yeah,
Yeah, you would probably have to let them know these things at all also, because how would they know? So we're used
Yeah.
to that. We're used to briefing people. Now we
Mm.
just need to brief the machine.
yeah,
And
that's
which is
exactly it. That's exactly.
yeah,
It's such a good way of describing it is
yeah.
briefing the machine
I
completely.
just think that if you think that you can just write a quick prompt and then believe that you
Mhm,
get something out that is true to your DNA, true to your tone of voice, in line of everything you want to do in your strategy, then you're very naive.
mhm.
Then you will get something out that is exactly the same as everyone else. So you have to work on it like you would if it was a person. And then the outcome in the end, I think, could be of a very high quality. So that's what we're working on. At this morning, I was looking at a prototype on a new boot, a winter boot, and we wanted to change something in the upper design, just a little bit of the part. And normally we would go in and draw it and then see how it looked with the chains. But then one of our designers, he just put it in AI, and like 2 minutes after, it looked exactly what we wanted. And we could just see, okay, this is how it's going to look for real, like a picture of it.
Yeah,
And so it took us 5 minutes to decide. Design changes would have taken maybe half a day before. So
it's
so
amazing.
it's very,
Yeah,
very useful. Yeah.
yeah, very useful. Oh, brilliant. Well, it's been lovely speaking with you today. I'm trying to think
You
if we
too.
can end it on something a bit fun, Linda. I feel like I want you guys to tell a story from back in the
Oh my
day.
God. I
Maybe
remember, Linda, that we had a tradition. Do you remember every time there was a kids fair in Copenhagen, you were here, and we went out to dinner
We did.
every
oh,
time.
With
Yes, we did.
Bianca from
With Bianca.
oh, with
Little
Bianca. I
Yes.
love
Scandinavian.
Bianca.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we had some lovely dinners.
We did have some lovely dinners, and we did it every time.
Yes. Yes. It was a
Yeah.
regular. And that was the old fair, not SIF Kids. That was CPH, was it called?
It was
CPH
called
Kids.
CPH Kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was in a lovely place. It was near the Carlsberg Brewery.
Yeah, it was. It was
Um,
really, really good. It was a
yeah.
really good fair.
And I remember
Do you
going,
remember there was a woman there who was their sales director? She was in charge of all sales, called Sandra.
don't think
No.
so,
Okay.
because I didn't deal with sales.
No, of course not. But you probably would. Maybe you would have met her
I would
because she was
visually,
everywhere.
if you showed me a picture, yes, I would probably visually remember her.
Because
Yeah.
she was in charge of CPH Kids,
Ah,
but
yeah.
she's now our chief sales officer.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. She's been here
Oh,
for 6 months, so
great.
it's the story is it's
that's so
ending.
nice, isn't it? I think
Yeah,
people,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, oh, I always say that with connections, isn't it? That you never know, like, where they're, on the timeline when they will
Yeah.
kind of help you out. So
Connect
that's really
again.
cool.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Connect
yeah.
again.
Now we're here, Linda. It's
Oh, yeah, look,
how
that was,
many years is it? If it's
Oh,
'09, then it's now
15.
25. Wow, it's a
No,
lot.
not 25. Not yet.
Not yet. No, no, we're in 2025, so it's not. It's 15 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
15 years. Yeah. Yeah. That was
it's
a
a
long
long
time.
time.
And I remember going backstage one time and photographing you all backstage. And I looked, but I couldn't find the pictures now because I've been through so
The
many
backstage.
different digital, yeah, so many
Uh,
different digital
I think
iterations.
I think I have
Yeah.
them. I think
Yeah.
I have not your
You probably
originals,
do.
but
I
I have
did
some of
send
it.
them to you.
Oh gosh,
I did. I did.
if you can
I have an
find them,
archive.
that'd be lovely to see. That'd be
I
so
have an
great.
archive.
That
We were
was one of
crazy
the
back then.
final
We did.
shows, I think, and you had
Yeah, yeah.
amazing masks made and
Yeah, yeah,
things
yeah.
for it. Yeah.
I don't know. Looking back, I see that I took everything I knew from the adult fashion industry into it,
Yeah.
like doing fashion shows. I would
Yeah.
never do that today, but we
Mm.
did that back then, and it was so fun. We did a lot of
Yeah.
them, and it was
Honestly,
very
the most
new.
stressful thing ever producing a runway show.
It's very stressful. There were runway shows at Pitti Bimbo back then for
Yeah.
kids, but that
Many.
was the only place where you could see runway shows for kids. And then we
Yeah.
did it also for New Generals. And I remember a few seasons after, every kids wear brand that were exhibiting at CBH Kids, but also at SIF later on, they wanted to do a fashion show. So they were very inspired by it.
I genuinely like I think at the moment as well with video content and everything, I do think fashion shows like are the way forward and like the more creative they are and everything with kids because you've got so much possibilities with them, but the problem is just the expense of putting them on. But maybe if you
And
put
the
that
hassle of it.
the hassle, I know
Ah,
that's true. That
I
is
It's
think
true.
that the
lovely. It's
creative,
lovely for everyone except the
Oh.
people producing it.
yes.
Yes.
I remember it as being quite a lot of fun also. It
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
But I think you said just one word here, Katie, that's important to it to have a takeaway from this is the creative. And it's, I think, in in regards to everything going on and the use of AI and the possibilities, I think it's very important for a brand to remember to remain creative.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
think there is a place for creative people, for design and creativeness in general, and we just need to still stay innovative and still to just use it differently.
Yeah, and I think it was funny what you were saying before is about like, when you were saying like your confidence back there and not caring. And actually, in some ways, we need that now. We need people to drive ahead with their design and they're creative as well, and just be
I think
like,
so.
right, I'm just going to push forward, and yeah, I'm going to see where this takes me, rather than like looking over your shoulder at this brand that's selling or this or whatever. You've got to. I think in some ways you've got to have that belief in your like just go for it as well with creativity. I
Yeah.
mean, we I see it in content. I mean, now with content and everything, quite a lot of it is because you're wanting to copy things or remix things or whatever. But we're seeing it more and more now of just like a lack of individuality in just creating your content. It's so important to kind of find a hook or find something that is
I
like
totally agree.
yeah, and also sometimes people don't like it. People don't like you and they don't like what you're doing, but then there's a lot of people that do like it, and you just
Yeah.
have to hope that they kind of, that you go forward with it. You're not going to please everyone. That's the
No.
thing, and don't think that you will, because that's the truth of being truly creative, isn't
You can never ever satisfy
it?
everyone.
No, you can't.
This is why we work from a strategy. We know
Mm.
exactly what kind of customer we want to approach and who to buy our products and what kind of retailers that we are aiming for. If you want to do something that satisfies everyone, then you are not special. And it's not possible. You can't do that. So to be true, just it's important to have a direction and have a strategy, and that's a good thing. That is my background, working strategically. That's what I've been doing most of my adult life, working with brand strategy. So this is where I'm strong in this, and probably also why I stepped in as managing director from August this year, because now we are ready to put that strategy into every little detail in the business, which means that we're now ready for this. So this is why I've been taking this position now.
Yeah, well, it's looking great. Like I think your comms are great. Everything's just, it's all coming together.
Oh,
And
that's
yeah,
so
I
nice of
can't,
you,
I
Katie.
can't
Thank
wait to
you.
see like when you're launching your next wholesale collection, because I think it just sounds like that is the one that's like really going to
It
hit
is.
it. So
It
yeah.
is. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, this has been a pleasure. It's been so nice for you two
Yeah.
to reunite.
So nice to see you again.
Yeah, you too, Linda. I know we have seen each other in the past year, but still, it's so nice to see you, and nice to see you and get to know you too, Katie.
Nice to meet you properly. And also, well, next time, like if Linda's at SIF, you guys should meet up for a dinner.
Yes.
Because
I would say let's restart the dinners, hey?
Let's restart the dinners. I will definitely be in Paris though. So we will see each other there.
Yeah, fantastic. We will definitely see each other in Paris. Okay, cool. Well, thank you for being with us on Kidswear Therapy today. I think we actually have gone through quite a lot of therapy today, so it's been great. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Bye.
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 So that was lovely, wasn't it, Linda?
That was great. I mean, so lovely to see someone you've got a history that, goes back a long way. And you remember them at that time. It was such a great brand, New Generals. I mean, it was so avant-garde and so ahead of its time. And it was very black, white and grey, very monochrome, very slogans and patterns and prints. And in fact, it was one of the first brands that brought that into kidswear. So as well as being organic and everything, and it was, as she said, she had a very fashion background. I have a very fashion background. So we connected.
So two stars align. No, it was fascinating. I think it's really nice to see somebody, obviously, who's had I'm going to use that journey word again in their career, and to see her reflections and what she's bringing to Bundgaard, and it was just a really interesting one. How they're using AI. It was just really, really good podcast. So thank you, and hopefully we have pronounced your name correctly. All right. Well, on to the next episode. Bye, Linda. Thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed our podcast and want to show some love, you can leave us a rating or review wherever it is you listen right now. Kidswear Therapy is a Pirouette Media production.